Make a pot for your succulent using the pinch pot technique. Cactus Pots Project 1, Step 8. Decorating. Planning your design. Hello and welcome back. In this video we will be planning how we're going to decorate our pinch pots. Now the decorating will be done using some slips. Slips are coloured clays, and these are the ones that you have in the standard clay pack. So this is white, black and the royal blue, which is a light blue. Here you can see what it looks like with the glaze on after it has been fired. There we go. Now some of the slips, when you open them up, will look a little bit different to what you might expect. Like this one, for instance, this is the white and it just looks clay colour, but after it is fired it does turn white. Okay, so the clays that have colour in them, they can actually be used just like paints. So you can mix colours that you don't have, or you can purchase the colours separately from us on our website. Now, if you don't have a palette at home, so like a little dish that you only use for mixing paints, then you can start collecting some things like plastic lids from takeaway containers. Just give them a wash, and these will be great for mixing the colours on if you want to have a combination of the colours that you already have. There's something like this too, a sauce pot from takeaway, or even a milk bottle cup. These all work really well for mixing a small amount of colour in them. For this part of the project you will just need some paper to draw on, and a pencil or a pen or a marker, and some colour pencils, paints, crayons, anything that you might have around the house that you can use for colouring. Now it's a good idea to just pick out the ones in the colours that you have or in the colours that you can mix. So you know, for instance, that if you have red and blue you can make purple even if you don't have purple, or yellow and red will make orange together, and so on and so forth. You can also add white to colours to make them lighter, or black to colours to make them blacker. So you can get quite a range of colours even if you do just buy the basic clay pack. You can get quite a range of different blues and greys out of that. Okay, so I'm going to start by drawing my pinch pot. So here it is, and I'm going to be drawing from observation. So I'd like to draw first a rim like this. Now it's a little bit wobbly because it's not perfectly even, and then I'm going to draw it from the side like this. Now it's a bit bigger than what I'm actually holding in my hand, so I can think about some ideas about what I'd like to do on it. Okay. Now, in terms of inspiration, some people just like to work off the top of their head and just draw and feel free about designing something that comes to their mind. For this project I have prepared as inspiration, if you like, some paintings by David Hockney, and you can have a look at these at hockney.com. David Hockney is a very famous British artist. He's English, from Yorkshire, and these paintings that he has done are actually enormous. They're made up of lots of little smaller canvases that have been put together to make these really big scenes. And David Hockney is still working, and he loves to paint his garden and places where he goes for walks. This painting here, which is Garraby Hill, he painted, which is near where his mum used to live, and he would paint would paint that when he went to go visit her. And so I'm going to use him as an inspiration for my pinch pot today. But if you have little potters in the house and you would like to use some inspiration that they're familiar with, here is a couple of ideas. So you know that earlier in one of the videos I made a pinch pot which was inspired by Despicable Me, who made one of the Minions, which I thought was quite fun. So here I've got a picture of a Minion from the front and back, so I can look at how to do that. And also I know there are plenty of little potters who love Peppa Pig, and you can use Peppa Pig definitely as an inspiration as well. And you don't necessarily have to paint Peppa herself onto the pots or her family, but you could paint, for instance, you could look at the grass and paint puddles for Peppa to jump in, the clouds and the sun, flowers in the grass, so you could create places for Peppa to go. Or you could look at clothes that Peppa's wearing and paint some clothes for her on the pots. So just have a think about what suits you best and what you might like to do. I'm going to continue with David Hockney as my inspiration. So I've got my pinch pot drawing here done in pencil, and now I'm going to grab a few colours. So I can see in the painting there are some purple trees, so I'm just going to choose purple, and I'm going to do a couple of big purple trees which are right in the foreground. That means that they're the closest to me, so it's a bit like walking through a forest. Here's some big trees which are close to me, and I don't need to be very precise with this. This is just kind of an idea, so I'm going to colour these in just quickly. And now David Hockney has done the bark on the trees as little stripes in orange, so I'm just going to do some little dashes like this. And now one thing that's really good about the slips, so the clay colours that you'll be using for decorating your pots, is that you can paint one colour over the other, and because they have clay in them, they're opaque. So opaque means that the colours cover each other up. They're not translucent. Translucent is when you can see through it, and opaque is when they cover each other up. So now, I had the orange pencil in my hand, and I can see that there are some orange trees, so I'm going to use that to do some orange trees. Now these are slightly thinner trees, or they could be further away, and I'm going to make them look slightly curved because my pinch pot has a curved wall, so if I draw them straight on there, then they will look like they're curving. So I'm going to colour the orange trees in, like so, and then even further away I'm going to have some brown ones. So because they're further away, I'm going to make them look really skinny. They could be skinny trees which are close by as well, but these ones, they're going to be further away, like so. There we go. And so now what I want my pinch pot to have is a feeling of walking through the forest. I'm taking a socially distant walk, and here I have some leaves. So I love these leaves here. They're just a few leaves. Now there are lots and lots of leaves on trays, but these ones are the ones that are kind of drawn to my attention. So I look up at the tray and I just notice a few of them, which are the most beautiful ones that I really like. So I'm just going to draw a few of these here. Okay, so maybe where the sunlight hits the leaves, that's where your attention goes. So that's where they are. And for the background, I'm just going to do like a darker green. So again, just fill it in just quickly so that I remember that the background is going to be dark green. When I'm painting this with slips, I can paint the dark green on first and then use the other colours to cover up the trees. The trees will cover it up, so you won't be able to see the green behind the trees, just in between them. So there we go. And then I would like to think about the sky, so what the day is like when I'm walking through the forest. So you can see that when David Hockney was there, this is in Waldgate in East Yorkshire, the sky looked almost white, so like lots of clouds, or maybe a very bright day with slightly white looking sky. But I think I really love to take a walk when there's sunshine. So I'm going to use yellow on the inside of my pot, and the cactus will be in here, so you won't be able to see very much of this, but the sunshine will just shine out around the cactus. Okay, so that is my design for today, and I'll show you some other designs that I did earlier on my iPad. So this one here was inspired by this Hockney's painting, this one here, which is the one that's near where his mum lives. So that's called Garrowby Hill, and what I really loved about this painting is here in the distance, where you can see all the different fields and the shapes that they make. And if you can see, I was pointing there. I don't know if it was off camera. So all the shapes that are made by the hills, by the fields that you can see from the top of the road. So what I did here is just made lots of little shapes, just like the fields, on my pinch pot. And what I want to do is have the road going all the way around the pinch pot, as if you were travelling around, and the inside is just like the sky. And on this one here, I made it a bit more abstract. So now what abstract means is that you look at the painting, at your inspiration, and you think about something that looks like it, that reminds you of it, but isn't necessarily it. So I used some wide brush strokes and just made marks in similar kind of colours that are in the painting. And so it kind of reminds you of the painting. It's maybe like if you squint your eyes, and that's what you might see. Okay. So this one here, it's another one I made earlier. Now, this was the design that I just drew, which is what I settled on after thinking about it a little bit. But here's another idea, which is looking at the ground, and this here is the path, so I could use brown and maybe add a little bit of red or yellow to the brown to make it a bit lighter. And this here is the flowers that are on the ground. So and I just did the sky inside the pinch pot. And I have this one here as well, where this painting, which is titled Bigger Trees Near Water. Okay, and so this one here, which just takes the brown colours from the ground and the trees with no leaves on them. That's a fairly bleak landscape, but I thought it would, it can be so beautiful as well, with the way the tree branches look a bit like I don't know, brains, or like blood vessels or something. And I really do love them, and looking at them in the winter when all the leaves come off, to see the structure of the trees. So I used that as an inspiration, and then or maybe you could have a series. You could have 2 pinch pots, and this one looks a little bit more like spring. So this is more inspired by the ground, and you can see some little yellow flowers. They could be daffodils coming up in the spring, and just the trees coming out of the bushes and the plants that are starting to grow in the bottom there. So so that's that one. Okay, so I hope that that you enjoy planning your designs and seeing what you might like to do when feeling inspired. And if you want to look up David Hockney at hockney.com, there's a lot of really interesting information there about his life and his work. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video, in which we will be talking about how to apply the slips and how to turn these designs into painting on your pinch pots. Okay, thank you, bye.